The last entry in the captain's log was completely ordinary. That sentence has haunted historians for more than a century, because ordinary people do not vanish from functioning ships without warning. Yet that is exactly what happened aboard the Mary Celeste. To understand why this case still terrifies investigators today, you have to understand the psychology of experienced sailors. Men like Captain Benjamin Briggs feared the ocean deeply, but they also understood it. They survived storms, mechanical failures, disease outbreaks, and violent waters because they trusted procedure over panic. Briggs was known for remaining calm under pressure. That matters, because whatever happened aboard his ship overcame years of maritime instinct within moments. The Mary Celeste departed New York Harbor on November 7, 1872. The voyage appeared promising from the start. The ship carried enough food and freshwater for months. The crew was experienced. The cargo had value. Weather conditions, while unpredictable at times, were not considered unusually catastrophic for the season. Then communication stopped. Nearly a month later, another vessel spotted the Mary Celeste drifting through open waters. At first glance, the ship did not appear destroyed. That was the first disturbing detail. Ships lost at sea usually reveal evidence of disaster. Torn sails, heavy structural damage, signs of collision. The Mary Celeste looked eerily functional. Boarding crews approached cautiously. What they discovered transformed the vessel into legend. No people on board, not a single living soul. Cabins remained partially organized. Valuable cargo remained untouched. Personal belongings still rested naturally throughout the ship. Investigators later documented that sewing equipment, clothing, navigation records, and domestic items remained scattered normally, suggesting no violent evacuation. The crew seemed to have disappeared during an ordinary day. One investigator reportedly described the atmosphere as deeply unnatural, not because of visible horror, but because the ship felt paused, like life had suddenly stopped in the middle of motion. The cargo inspection raised immediate concern. The ship transported industrial alcohol inside wooden barrels. Some barrels later showed signs of leakage. Experts knew alcohol vapors created serious danger under pressure. If Briggs believed an explosion was possible, immediate evacuation could make sense. But again, another problem emerged. Why not return once the danger passed? The missing lifeboat became central to every theory. Investigators concluded the passengers and crew likely left together intentionally. There was no evidence anyone remained behind. That detail ruled out many scenarios. This was not one person fleeing alone. This was a collective decision. And collective fear usually requires a visible threat. Some researchers later proposed a frightening possibility involving weather and navigation. The ship's chronometer and sextant were missing, meaning Briggs likely intended continued navigation after abandoning the vessel temporarily. Perhaps he planned to remain connected to the ship using a tow line. Perhaps worsening weather severed that connection unexpectedly. Imagine the psychological horror of that moment. A small lifeboat rising violently through dark Atlantic waves while the Mary Celeste slowly drifts farther away into fog and distance. A functioning ship disappearing beyond reach. That theory remains one of the most accepted explanations because it requires no impossible events. Only human error and terrible timing. Still, unanswered questions remain. Why were some sails still set if Briggs believed the ship was dangerously unstable? Why did no distress signals appear? Why did experienced sailors fail to regain the vessel? Then came darker theories: piracy, mutiny, murder, insurance fraud. Over the decades, writers accused nearly everyone connected to the case. Captain Morehouse and the Dei Gratia crew faced suspicion during formal hearings. Some argued they killed the passengers before claiming salvage rights, but evidence never supported the accusation. Others speculated crew members became intoxicated from alcohol fumes and turned violent. Again, no evidence confirmed it. The lack of physical evidence became the case's greatest nightmare. Investigators could not prove almost anything, and human beings struggle psychologically with unresolved endings. That is why the Mary Celeste still fascinates audiences today. The mystery leaves space for fear. The human brain automatically tries to complete unfinished stories. When answers never arrive, imagination takes over. That process transformed the Mary Celeste from maritime incident into cultural legend. Books exaggerated facts. Movies invented fictional survivors. Paranormal theories spread globally. Some people insisted supernatural forces removed the passengers entirely. But real investigators continued focusing on evidence instead of mythology. and the evidence suggests something far more tragic than ghosts. A captain may have made a desperate decision while trying to protect his family and crew. A temporary evacuation may have turned irreversible within minutes. The Atlantic Ocean may have swallowed every remaining clue immediately afterward. That explanation sounds simple, but psychologically, it may be the most terrifying possibility of all. Because it means the disaster required no monster, no conspiracy, no paranormal force, just fear. One moment of fear in the wrong place, at the worst possible time. The Mary Celeste eventually disappeared from public life years later after being intentionally wrecked in an unrelated insurance fraud scheme. But by then, its legend had already become immortal. Today, historians still examine surviving documents, weather records, crew histories, and cargo manifests searching for overlooked details. Yet after more than 150 years, the central mystery remains untouched. What happened during the final hours aboard the Mary Celeste? Why did 10 people abandon safety in the middle of the Atlantic? And why did the ocean never return a single answer?